I'm Josh Light with PoliticIt.com here in Texas with Clark Patterson. He's a Libertarian candidate running for Congress in District 1. How are you doing today, Clark?
I'm great. How are you, Josh?
I'm doing good. So, Clark, tell me big differences between you and your competitors in this race.
Well, I think I'm the only candidate that really understands the future demographic time bomb that faces this country. We have a generation of baby boomers, which I'm in, which will be retiring in about 15 years or so from now, and there's simply not money to sustain the big entitlement programs like Social Security and Medicare. So those issues, the issue of entitlements, Social Security and Medicare, they need to be addressed, and unfortunately, neither of my two opponents, my Democratic or Republican opponent, are really facing those two major issues.
And Clark, how has your experience prepared you to represent the people in District 1?
Well, actually, I've been keeping up with politics for about 34 years now, since I was in my late teens, and I'm actually a professional photographer, but I think just anyone who keeps up with political issues understands that things have slowly evolved to where now we have a $16 trillion federal debt and unfunded liabilities of $222 trillion. We didn't get that way overnight. I mean, it has taken many, many years for us to get in that position, and now is really the time. I mean, we can't put it off any longer. We need to address those issues now.
And Clark, you talk about the deficit. What do we do to help the deficit? How do we fix it?
Well, actually, we need to actually make cuts, and the cuts need to begin pretty much immediately, like immediately being in the next term of Congress. Well, for example, I mentioned Social Security and Medicare a few minutes ago. Those programs have to be addressed. The benefits that current recipients and even future upcoming recipients are getting are far, far more than what they paid into the system over their working years. So we need to slowly start cutting back on the automatic cost of living adjustment increases that these programs are set up to implement, and it happens automatically. And so that's really the first thing we need to do is to address the problem of Social Security and Medicare, those entitlements, by slowing the growth of increases in the amount of benefits that recipients get. And that would be at least a good first start.
Now, you mentioned $222 trillion of liabilities. You want to explain to viewers what that means?
Well, that means that right now, if the federal government has, the Congressional Budget Office actually came up with that number. What they do is they try to estimate how much we would need right now today to pay for all the future obligations of all the future recipients of Social Security and Medicare. I'm not an actuary, but they're able to figure out roughly, you know, obviously some people will die before they even reach the age of the retirement age, but a lot of people obviously won't, and of course today people are living longer and longer. So the actual projections are that today, right this minute, the federal government would need $222 trillion in assets to cover the future cost of all the benefits they'll have to pay out over the next 75 or so years.
Now, Clark, what do we do to stimulate the economy so we can get that revenue needed to help close this deficit gap?
Well, the number one, I'm not really sure that I agree that we need, the economy needs stimulus right now. In fact, I think it's had entirely too much stimulus, but the absolute number one best thing that we could do for the economy is to cut spending. And not just in entitlements, but I would also look into cutting what are called guns, you know, the defense budget. We spend entirely too much on overseas bases. Right now, the U.S. government has roughly 135 bases all around the world. So we need to cut both guns and butter, butter being some of these entitlement social insurance programs.
And Clark, what are you doing to improve your online presence?
Well, I'm trying to keep my Facebook fan page updated. I'm not doing the best job in the world of doing that, but I'm trying to. It seems like the whole world is on Facebook, so my Facebook fan page is really where I try to get all of my supporters to go.
How's your campaign going right now?
Slow but sure. I mean, I know obviously we're less than a week away from the election, but I'm cautiously optimistic.
Where can people go to learn more about you, Clark?
Well, actually, it is my Facebook fan page. It's actually facebook.com/Clark Patterson for Congress.
Thanks, Clark.
Thank you, Josh.